course, we've been following closely what is happening in Maine. CNN's Omar Jimenez has been there covering this story as this manhunt has been underway for this suspect over 48 hours now. Omar, what have you learned?
Yeah, Caitlin, over 48 hours in this manhunt, and multiple sources are now telling CNN this suspect has been found dead in the woods in the town over from where I am in Lewiston, which is where both of these mass shootings took place, again, over 48 hours ago at this point. As we understand from sources, he was found dead due to a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head. He was found in the woods, as I mentioned, near Lisbon, Maine, which is the town over from here in Lewiston. They've been searching for him since the shootings took place. And while obviously this is the breaking news that's happening right now, there were indications or fears that he may have been found dead because of a note that was found previously by law enforcement indicating that he did not plan to be alive when that note was found. And clearly this seems to be playing out now, according to these sources. To give you an idea of what the past few days have been like here, it has created a sense of fear, at the very least unease, for the people here in this community, not knowing where this person was as they went to bed at night, as they locked their doors twice in some cases, as they barricaded their doors, as some posted on social media, again, unsure of what this person could be capable of. Now, earlier today, we got more details from police on how this attack unfolded. First at a bowling alley not too far from where I am right now, and then minutes later came here to this location, to the restaurant behind me, and continued to open fire. At least 18 people were killed, 18 members of this community, and so many others are now trying to figure out how to put the pieces of their lives back together based on the actions of what police say was this man, 40-year-old Robert Card, who again has now been found dead, according to multiple law enforcement sources, after a more than 48-hour search. A press conference from state police and other law enforcement is scheduled for just about 50 minutes from now, where they will likely make that announcement officially, but also likely take us through some of the steps that led them to finding this particular body. I should also say that they were looking by the water, by air, by ground, and where this body was found, the Lisbon area, while we don't know the exact specific location in the woods, that has been a lot of the primary focus of where investigators have been searching. They were combing through the woods. They were looking along the river. They even told us earlier today what they would be doing, even sending divers into the river to potentially look for evidence. And we're not sure exactly what part of that strategy made them get to this final hurdle, but this is a sigh of relief for so many people in this community, again, who were living in some cases in fear about where this person was.
Yeah, so many areas still locked down. Omar, breaking news there that the suspected shooter in Maine has been found dead. Thank you for that, Omar. We'll get back to you in a moment. For more on this, I want to bring in CNN's chief law enforcement and intelligence analyst, John Miller, who's been covering this. John, I mean, what have you been learning from your sources about how they found him, what this note apparently said?
Well, the note was basically a list of account numbers, things to take care of. It was probably meant for his son in the event of his death as to how to handle affairs, though it wasn't explicitly a suicide note. Leaving it in a conspicuous place was an indicator that he wanted to put affairs in order. Now, tonight, a search in an area discovers Robert Card dead of an apparent, only the medical examiner can make that determination, self-inflicted gunshot wound. I am told this is a wooded area near a recycling center. Why is that significant? Because in the order of events in his life, there was the mental health crisis he had in the National Guard that resulted in him being hospitalized under psychiatric observation. There was the loss of his job at that recycling center, and then the breakup with a woman he'd been involved with, and those things had happened in fairly rapid succession. So the symbolism of going back to places where he used to go with his girlfriend and opening fire on the people there, the symbolism of going back to the place where he had been fired to that area and killing himself so he would be found nearby there, may speak to a lot of the issues that were driving him.
Do we know anything else about how they actually found him? Because, I mean, the amount of resources behind this search effort was
We, we,
extensive.
we don't know. We'll know at 10 o'clock, but I think we can project that, A, they've been searching wooded areas around there, almost kind of going through a grid,
Which is so difficult this time of
and
year.
very challenging, but also looking in areas that would be significant to him. And the recycling center, a place where he had worked and then had been discharged from, would be significant to him. So that is, there's one other thing that's notable, which is, and we learned this today in our reporting on the story, which is he bought the gun, not just an AR-15 rifle, but an AR-10, a high-powered rifle that uses a sniper's bullet. It's used for long-distance shots and hunting big game on or about January 6th. January 16th, the Army calls the New York State Police, the National Guard calls the state police and says he's out of control, and they take him to the hospital, and then they refer him for treatment. And then those two things, buying the gun and essentially being put into a psychiatric ward for observation for a period of time, are in very close proximity. What we're trying to ask is, did authorities from the National Guard ever pass that on to the National Guard in Maine, where he had access to weapons, received weapons training, to people in Maine law enforcement authorities, where he was a lawful possessor of many weapons, but clearly a person in crisis. And part of the struggle that they have had in identifying victims who were found at the two murder scenes were that using this kind of weapon and that .308 round, this particularly large bullet, made it hard to identify people because a number of them were victims of what appeared to be targeted headshots. So taking all that together,
That's so hard to hear.
very difficult, and even speaks more to the type of weapon he bought, the type of round it carried, and then doing close range shooting of people from the very community that he has been with for most of his life. So the idea that he has been discovered, that he is a different leg of this tragedy, and that people can get back to trying to rebuild their lives in communities, as Omar said, that starts now.